Ant-Man doesn't come out in cinemas until July 17th, but as we at Whatculture are very important and exceedingly handsome, they let us see it early. Short review, it's the funniest Marvel movie ever. Weird but sweet, inventive and exciting. Now, let's talk Easter eggs. All of Marvel's movies are crammed with cameos, in-jokes and sly winks, and Ant-Man is no different. There may be more of these in the film, but this is what I found during my single press viewing. I'm Adam from Whatculture.com, and here are 18 Easter eggs, cameos and references from Ant-Man. Spoilers, obviously. Number 18, S.H.I.E.L.D'S old guard. Straight off the bat, two of the old faces of S.H.I.E.L.D. turn up in a flashback scene. Howard Stark, who's grown out of being Dominic Cooper and has settled into his John Slattery years, and aged Peggy Carter, who looks a lot more convincing than her crazy eyes appearance in Winter Soldier. Also in the scene, a digitally de-aged and slightly shiny Michael Douglas. He looks okay, much better than this Patrick Stewart monstrosity from Project Origins Wolverine. Number 17, Tales to Astonish. The first sly wink to the audience. By the time the film begins, Hank Pym has retired from superhero duty and the existence of Ant-Man is a myth. Darren Cross, the bald villain that no one calls Egghead, despite that being an absolute open goal for a villain reference, describes the Ant-Man as a legend whose adventures are stories to thrill and, quote, tales to astonish. Hank Pym's first appearance in comics, issue 27 of Tales to Astonish. Number 16, Mitchell Carson. As any Antophile knows, there are three generations of Ant-Men in Marvel Comics. Hank Pym and Scott Lang both appear in the movie, but what about the third, Eric O'Grady? While he's never explicitly mentioned, there is a reference in the form of villainous character Mitchell Carson. In the comic, Carson was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and one of the first antagonists for O'Grady's Ant-Man. In the film, Carson is a more old dude, but he does escape with a vial of Darren Cross's shrinking formula. Will he be testing it on the hapless O'Grady in future movies? Number 15, Call Me Jack. Baskin-Robbins, you know, the ice cream chain, features a bizarre amount in the opening of the film. It's quite horrifically blatant product placement, but it's funny so you won't probably care. Whilst working for the ice cream shop, Scott Lang wears a name tag that reads Jack. Considering that one of Ant-Man's co-creators, Stan Lee, has his obligatory cameo later in the film, is this a reference to fellow creator Jack Kirby? Also, the label is over Scott's heart, so maybe it's a reference to Jack of Hearts, a hero who, in the comics, explodes and kills Scott Lang. Number 14, Gimme a Hamburger. Also from the scene set in Baskin-Robbins, Scott Lang is dealing with a customer that, because of lols, wants something hot to eat. The first thing he asks for is a hamburger. The manager of the Baskin-Robbins is played by Greg Turkington, who rose to fame as crazed drunk character act Neil Hamburger. Number 13, Ant 427. The ant that Ant-Man rides as he escapes from prison is later christened Anthony. Ha ha ha, Anthony. But starts off as just simple Ant 427. Why 427? It's a conflagration of the numbers 47 and 27. Hank Pym's first major appearance in comics was in Tales to Astonish 27, and Scott Lang's was in Marvel Premiere number 47. Both issues cited by Edgar Wright as hugely influential on his draft of the film. Number 12, Hope Van Dyne. Big spoilers, Hank Pym's wife Janet Van Dyne, known to most comic fans as the Wasp, is dead from the start, the female lead being his daughter, Hope. Hope doesn't exist in the regular Marvel universe, but in an alternate future timeline, she becomes Red Queen, a villainess who, alongside her brother, Big Man, forms the Revengers and attacks the Avengers mansion. In the film, she's on the side of good and fills the ass-kicking void that Janet left behind. Even her hair is similar to Janet's original do from the comics. Number 11, Hank's temper. It's not an overt reference and never would be in a family-friendly film, but during an argument scene, Hank Pym flips out and bellows. Everyone is shocked by the scientist's outburst of anger, and with good reason. Fans of the comic know how bad Hank's temper can get, at one point infamously striking his wife Janet whilst in his yellow jacket persona. Hank lashes out in anger a bunch of times in the film, but the character's history of domestic abuse is never mentioned, but the temper is there. Number 10, Pingo Doce? Remember The Incredible Hulk? Us neither, to be honest, but during Act 1 of the film, Ed Norton's Bruce Banner is seen to be working at a Brazilian soda company called Pingo Doce. That's how it's spelled. This soda company makes green pop that accidentally poisons Stan Lee. As Scott Lang walks through the streets of San Francisco and Ant-Man, adverts for the green soda can be seen on faded posters on the wall. Number 9, the VISTACORP job. Now this is never seen, but mentioned a couple of times in the film. Scott Lang is in San Quentin prison for the VISTACORP burglary. Instead of in the film, this job is documented in a comic released earlier this year called Ant-Man, Scott Lang's Small Time. In the comic, we meet a character called Peachy, who also appears in the film. And earlier this month, Marvel released a small viral news video about Scott Lang and the VISTACORP job. It's presented by Christine Everhart, whom fans will recognise as the reporter from Iron Man and Iron Man 2. Number 8, Milgram's Hotel. Also to be found on the streets of San Francisco, an establishment called Milgram's Hotel. This is a reference to comic book artist Al Milgrom, who drew many issues of the Avengers, but also penciled over 50 issues of the West Coast Avengers comic. In the comics, Hank Pym is a scientific advisor and compound manager for the West Coast Avengers. Number 7, major cameo from The Falcon. In a cameo that has unfortunately been spoilt for most people by new international trailers, the Falcon makes an extended appearance. Scott Lang is sent to rob a disused Stark facility, which turns out to be the new Avengers HQ from the end of Age of Ultron. Oops. The Falcon shows up to catch the intruder and gets his ass handed to him by Ant-Man, which he finds deeply embarrassing. Number 6. Anna Akana, Monica Chang, actor and YouTube celebrity, makes an appearance in an unnamed role. She's seen conversing with the Falcon and is instrumental in trying to set up a meeting between Ant-Man and the Avengers. Now this is just speculation, but is she Monica Chang? Chang is a SHIELD agent tasked with heading up the SHIELD's artificial intelligence division, and this would make sense considering everything that's happened with Ultron in the last Avengers movie. In the comics Avengers AI, Chang works closely with Hank Pym on the creation of a new team of more sciencey superheroes. Perhaps it's just a nod to her YouTube celebrity, or maybe it's a future role. Number 5. 56210. Now this one's a bit more tenuous. Scott Lang's prison mugshot number is 56210. Nothing in Marvel is random, so what do these numbers mean? Well, 62 and 10 might mean something. After all, Tales to Astonish 27, Hank Pym's first appearance, was released on the 10th of January 1962. So maybe. Not sure if 5 is a reference to anything, but answers on a postcard, folks. Number 4, Stan Lee's cameo. Of course there's one. He appears right at the end of the movie as a very, very, very old bartender who is mouthing lines being spoken by another character in voiceover. The line he's mouthing, "Yeah, she's super fine." Oh, Stan. Number 3, the Quantum Realm. Now, count this as possible foreshadowing for a sequel. During the film's climax, we see a trippy sequence set in what's called the Quantum Realm, which is what happens if someone shrinks to subatomic levels. In the comics, it's known as the Microverse. Basically, when you're compressed so far down, you're forced into a parallel universe. Doctor Doom's been down there, as have the Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, and of course, Ant-Man. Is the Quantum Realm set to return in future movies? Number 2, the mid-credits spot. Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyne walk into Hank's basement. Hank says he's learned you can't destroy power, all you can do is make sure it's in the right hands. He opens up a secret compartment to reveal, yes, the Wasp suit. Hope Van Dyne will be the Wasp in future movies, and in a universe still dominated by male superheroes, she says what a lot of people are thinking, it's about damn time. Number 1, the post-credit spot. It takes place in an underground room. The Falcon and Cap have finally found Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, and are holding his arm in a huge vice. Cap mentions keeping something a secret from Tony, so the cracks are already showing. Then he mentions needing someone else for their team. The Falcon turns and says, I might know a guy. Ant-Man will return. And that's our list. Now go watch Ant-Man to see if you can spot any more and tell us about them in the comics. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And you can even follow me on Twitter here. I'm Adam from Whatculture.com and I'll see you soon.